the spirit portals open and the spookums are allowed to roam free on our good green earth. Are they here with us now? Whew. I think we're safe. Wait. Oh no. What's that behind you? Oh God. Is that a shark? Oh my God, there's two of them. No! What's good, everybody? My name is Modi, this is Modi Makes, and today I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make cheap and easy masks for everyone's favorite, sweetest, spookiest day of the year. That's right, I'm talking Halloween, baby, yes! For Halloween this year, my brother and I thought it would be fun to dress up as monsters from everybody's favorite janky mystery show, Scooby, Where Are You?, and go a bar hopping around town. We both wanted to choose classic, iconic characters from the show and see if we could make our costumes good enough that people could actually recognize who we were. So I chose one of my personal favorites that didn't require professional makeup or seamstress work, Old Iron Face. I've already ordered some dope shark slides that I'm going to tie some rope around and wear as the sharks that he rides in the show. The only thing that I couldn't find anywhere was the mask. So I decided that I was going to make my own mask for this one. Now, I've already done this once before. The last time I did this, I made good old Smitty Werbin Jagerman Jensen, who's chilling out in the background of all my videos if you haven't seen. When I wore this mask, I was pleasantly surprised by not only the amount of people who recognized the character, but also by how many people thought it was really high quality, being that this was the first custom mask I had ever constructed. So let's see if I can do something nearly as good as this one again. And without further ado, you know what time it is. Let's get into it. One of the great things about going as Old Iron Face is that his mask is just a front face covering, which means that I can use some recycled materials to pull this off, which every artist loves. You never waste your materials. They're expensive. So one of the main materials I'm going to be using for this is just good old cardboard, which I have a ton of lying around in the studio. Boom. So real quick, I'm just gonna run to Spirit Halloween to grab a couple things for the costume and a couple things to make this mask a little bit easier for me because why not, right? Perfect. This is exactly what I need. Hello. So I got this blank white face mask just to use as a base for my mask. It's gonna make it a lot easier. And this bad boy was just like $4 at Spirit Halloween, so still staying in the cheap and easy, and it is fucking creepy on its own already. So I guess you could just do this, but that's not an art video, so I'll catch you back at the studio and we'll start working more from there. Look at this little guy, he's hanging on there so tight. What a survivor. Go, little guy, go. Look at that little guy, he really doesn't want to move. You can do it, buddy. You don't want to stay in my car. And now that I have my blank face mask, I can just use this as a base for figuring out all my dimensions. Just going to set this guy up on the cardboard and start drawing out the cut lines. And don't worry about this being too smooth, we'll be able to cover it up later, and I'll show you how we're gonna do that. But also a little jank is always fun, especially since it's for Scooby-Doo and that's a janky show. All right, now before we get too far ahead of ourselves, it's time to do some gluing with good old Elmer's glue. Really pulling out all the fancy stuff for today. Cardboard and Elmer. Man, my job often makes me feel like an elementary school kid in arts and crafts. It's pretty great, can't lie. Let's be clever about this. I don't have to hold it down like some pleb. Just put that on there and then put this old box of records on top of it. Maybe 2 of them. Anyone a fan of Stardust Memories or know what it is? Let me know in the comments if you do, because I don't. Oh, my records. Okay, so the mask has like a center kind of design element that goes the entire height of the mask. So how I'm gonna do that is I'm going to trace this shape roughly back on to another piece of cardboard so I can use that as reference. And then I'm going to just kind of freehand them and hope that they work out well. I'm gonna cut out a bunch extra so I can make sure it lines up with the mask properly. And you should absolutely be a lot safer about this than I am currently being. And that'll sit roughly like that. All right, I got me a new blade and it's actually sharp now. Oh my God, that's so much better. Just one cut all the way through. I'm going to seal all of this stuff with Mod Podge really quick, just to, well, seal it. The next thing that we had to do before we move on is mold this mask over our reference mask here, which I did a little bit of off screen. And luckily, the Mod Podge had the unintended benefits of making the whole thing just more malleable in general, and it holds its shape better. And this is important to get this shape down right now, because the next thing I'm gonna do is some paper mache work. So that's all good and dry for our purposes, and the next thing I'm going to be needing to do is going to be putting a few layers of Mod Podge on here just to seal it down and get a smoother coating. Oh yeah, and while I'm doing this, I've made sure to like continually be reforming the curve just so, you know, everything doesn't dry out with it too flat and then get cracks and tears and stuff in it, and that would be a huge bummer. We're just gonna let that dry for a little while I go clean up my brush, and then we'll be able to get to the painting. It's time to paint this bad boy. So I was going to sand it down and make sure everything's really flat, but I don't think I really need to do that because I'm going to be using this hammered spray paint to get it kind of like a hammered metal texture. So that should cover up any imperfections that I don't have from sanding it, and I should just be able to paint over that later with the silver colors that I'm going to be using, and hopefully it'll maintain some of this texture as long as I put a thick enough layer on it. You know, it's always a good sign when your spray paint can only works upside down. To make the rivets that go on the front decoration piece of the mask, I'm just going to be cutting up 4 pieces off of this dowel. So that means it's time for some good old American Japanese power tools. But first I actually do have to make some measurements and mark them off, so. And then we'll get to the fun stuff. With this. They're such small cuts. It got stolen by the devil. Oh, Jesus. Actually, though, where the hell did it go? Well, shoot. The other two went back there. Someone slow down and enhance the footage and tell me where that went in the comments. We're back outside on this glorious freezing day in October in Seattle, but what else is new? Oh wait, this is terrible. You might have noticed that I wasn't doing all the same steps with this as I was on the mask, and that pretty much is just because I don't think it was necessary. I could pretty much just paint this and put it on there, and it's gonna look completely fine. Time to pull out the spray adhesive. Oh. That shit is toxic for sure. All right, now we're gonna let that dry up for a little bit and then we'll cut off the extra before we paint this part. But while that's going on, I might as well paint those little rivets I just cut out of that dowel. These are very hard to handle with gloves. Obligatory spray can flip. Dink. Now that we got all of that cut up and ready to go, it's time to tape up the sides here and we can get to painting this. Oh. Hello, darkness, my old. There we go. Yeah, but I guess that top layer of spray paint doesn't like to stick to the copper spray paint I put underneath it, but we'll just have to let it dry for a while and it'll be fine.
2 hours later.
Wait. I came up with another idea to be able to paint onto this without having to tape anything on. With no peeking. Alright, close your eyes. Ta-da! I know, I'm a genius. It's amazing. Now let's get down to putting down this silver color. Get a nice heavy coat so that it's real reflective and metallic. Uh-oh. Got a little bit of a leak over. That's a bummer. I'll have to fix that later. Cool pattern though. Dry enough for our purposes. Unfortunately, that like hammered copper paint that I use really doesn't want to completely dry, so there's still a lot of fumes coming off of it, and this is not a well-ventilated studio, which is incredibly inadvisable, but the show must go on. The things I do for you guys, I'm sacrificing myself to bring you this content. I think I'll be okay for what we need to do next. And speaking of, the next thing that we're going to be getting into is putting on some matte medium onto this guy. Alright, you might remember that I was talking about how there was some overspill, but it's going to be completely okay. I'm going to be able to cover that up, and I will show you why it's completely okay in a little bit here, so just wait that out with me. So my next move is going to be, since I want to replicate the Scooby-Doo Where Are You look as much as possible, so like that old Scooby-Doo look, I'm going to be using my black paint pen here to add on the line work that would be going between each section of it. And so this is how I'm going to end up disguising that extra paint. Solid. All right, so next up, we're gonna be attaching on our 4 little rivets here. And to be doing this, we're gonna use this epoxy putty. Womp, womp, womp. We're gonna take some electrical tape and tape it around the edges of the cardboard here to kind of act like part of that black line work and just seal up the cut cardboard. So this should be convincing enough, especially at a bar at night. crucial final step that I have to do to make this just a little bit more convincing is I have to get that flat green look underneath the eyes. And how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna use this green mesh nylon stuff, and then we'll get the mask all set up to be worn. Oh shit. And I screwed it up. Oh, I'm really winging this. Good thing I have a whole roll. If I had really planned this out, I probably would have used something like hot glue for this, because that way it would kind of melt the layers together, but I didn't. All right, so while all that glue's drying, it's time for me to put on some more glue. I'm going to be putting on some padding material to hold it a little bit away from my face, so it's just a little more comfortable to wear, since there's obviously no slot for my nose or anything like that. And luckily I was able to find some foam from one of my boxes that I had something sent in. And I'm just gonna cut out some strips of this and then glue it on here on the forehead and the cheeks to try to keep it up out of my face. And this is one janky setup. Feels appropriate. Just stay together. The answer is always more glue. Works every time. You know, this video is for the tip-a-taz. And if you get that reference, you're the best. Write it down in the comments if you know what that's from. All right, now comes the final maneuver. I'm gonna be attaching this elastic on here, and I don't wanna go through it, so I'm going to attempt to use this epoxy putty again. Hopefully I can just make like a bar that goes across it. Our mask is almost finished and ready for the final shots, but while everything's just drying up and setting, I wanted to take the time to say thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you liked the video, go ahead and throw a like on there. That would be awesome. And let me know what you thought of the video in the comments. I know that it's not the most professional job in the world, but I had fun making it, and I hope you guys had fun watching it. Other than that, just if you like me and want to support me, then go ahead and subscribe. That would be awesome. Without further ado, let's get into the final shots. Yeah, there you have it, ye swarthy dogs. It looks right to me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, like I said. And you know, like and subscribe. The inside of the mask is definitely all sorts of jank. But the front of the mask looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not gonna lie. For the amount of time that I have and the incredibly low expertise that I have, I think it worked out great. Just agree with me on this one. I need it for my ego. But yeah, man, I didn't plan this out well enough to have the rest of the outfit, the ensemble, if you will, for this final shot to show you guys what, oh my God. Well, I'm gonna have to fix the string before Halloween. The mask itself is fine. It's just the elastic that's messing up with me. I actually had to put some duct tape on the back just to fully secure it, and even that didn't work out well. So I'll figure that out before the day of reckoning itself. That's a little embarrassing, but it looks good. Anyways, with that catastrophic failure out of the way, I guess I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.